I'm a savage. Drop the classic, thinking back. Drop the classic, to establish that the magic, it's automatic. Got a mask, who was that? Living legend, lethal weapon, mastermind, never tied, tell him on. If I am in second, it's after no one. Just give me a second to let them know. I'm the headline, the deadline. Big time. I'm ahead time, the rare kind. Big time. I'm a living legend, lethal weapon, mastermind. Big time.
Welcome to Spain, the next stop on the T100 World Tour. Stunning coastline meets the late summer heat. And with 5 races down, the race to Qatar is well and truly on. Every point counts, and every move matters.
On your mark.
In the women's field, 5 different winners so far in a fiercely competitive season. New faces making their mark. But the greats are holding their ground. The men relentless, some racing with scars, some with a point to prove.
I want to beat Hayden quite badly, to be honest.
4 races to go, it's time to go all in. This is the T100 Spain. So away we go here in Spain, our 5th stop on the T100 this year. Up first, a 2-kilometre swim on the Debord swim course, broken up into 2 1-kilometre laps. And Emma Snowsill, we knew this water was going to be shallow for quite some distance, but we've got all sorts of techniques here from the athletes getting into the deeper section.
Well, we do say we have the Aussie exit, but I think this is very much an Aussie entry. You know, this porpoise diving that a lot of the athletes had to do, this wading. If you've spent any time on an Australian beach watching the nippers and our Surf Life Saving Ironman, this is something that's really practiced. So it is a basin, the Mediterranean. It is quite shallow. So I think, you know, this is going to really put some sting really early into the swim.
Yeah, and don't forget as well, the athletes, because this is a 1-kilometre loop, they've also got to do this twice as they get back in the water. So they will have been practicing this, won't they, I guess, in the swim familiarisation yesterday, something where you can make up serious time.
You know, it's actual fact 4. You know, I think coming in and out, the heart rate is getting so high. I mean, if the start of the race isn't already where the heart rate is spiking, but adding a little run in or a little bit longer than what you'd be accustomed to, or diving off a pontoon, it really is something, you know, talking with the athletes, it's really a matter of having to lower it again, getting into the water and finding your rhythm and not destroying yourself so early in the day.
Yeah, absolutely. So while we try and just work out who's where, we've obviously got the swim cap colours that we're trying to work out, and slightly confusingly, we've got 2 athletes in a red cap. That's Rico Bogan and Guilherme Montiel Moreno of Italy, both in a red cap. So we'll try and get Emma to get her eyes on which one of those, but both of them fairly near the front here. And obviously we've got beg your pardon, we've actually got 3 athletes in red, so just to make it even more confusing for you at home. But we'll obviously get our first timing splits as they go through the Aussie exit. So Emma, conditions look pretty good, don't they, for swimming? There wasn't really a breath of wind down there, was there, on the start line?
No, I think it's that really deceptive sort of weather. I mean, right now it feels nice with a bit of cloud cover. You know, there's barely any wind. You can see the water is very, very calm. There's no sort of wind chop. And obviously, you know, in the Mediterranean, you don't experience too many currents or particularly waves. So, you know, I'm expecting a really, really fast swim by these athletes. And I mean, these men don't have, you know, conditions like we saw a couple of times with sighting, with the sun at this point in time, with the cloud cover. But I think, you know, these athletes are so well equipped and so professional, and in every aspect, you know, they take into account everything that they need, no matter the conditions. Well, we've seen it is a beach start. It's 2 by 1 kilometre swims anti-clockwise before they head out onto the bike. It's 1 kilometre before they head out onto 6 laps of around 13 kilometres each. Very, very small gradient, about 1.2%. Very few technical bends out there. And then it's back to transition where they head back out for another 6 laps on the run, Palm Line Streets. It's going to be very flat and very fast. You know, I think it's fantastic to see that, you know, at this point, before we get out and have a little run in between the swim with this Aussie exit, how these guys are, you know, keeping together, but also realising, you know, that the swim is something that they've all had to improve on. It's not a part of the race that they can just feel like that is the warm-up per se. These guys really put in the effort to make sure that their swimming is in top notch, because if you are off the back of this group, you find yourself in a very lonely place all day.
That's a really great shot there, because you can see them start to hit dry land, or not even dry land, sorry, land. It's still very much wet as they're coming out the sea. And the various techniques there on offer as they make their way out of the water. And we're going to start to get our first timing splits.
I have a feeling that's Sam Dickinson. I think if there's something that the Brits have done well is their ins and outs on the beaches, and that's been, you know, just some great work, and dare I say, spending some time down in Australia more than likely.
Well, that's Hayden Wildbear in the pink cap, not far behind his rival this season, emerging as Yellow Geens. Very much in the fight after that first lap. Quite a short Aussie exit there, Emma, isn't it, compared with some of the ones we've seen?
Well, short out of the water, but look how far they're still having to porpoise back in, you know, get their knees. It's really not even about high knees. It's actually about like lifting your feet and ankles out to the side and sort of whipping your feet around on top of the water. Lifting your knees is, you know, a bit like a running drill, but when you've got the resistance of the water in front of you, it makes it even harder. And I think given that very, very small turnaround on the sand is very important, considering what they're having to do to get back out into some deeper water.
So the timings that we've got on the side there, Sam Dickinson out in front, Jonas Schomburg in second, Vincent Louis in third, Kraft of Germany in fourth, Bortolamedi of Italy in fifth, Carl Smith in sixth, Menno Koolhaas in seventh, Rico Bogan in eighth, and Jelle Geens and Yuri Kulin in ninth and 10th. So Emma, not long to go now until the athletes make their way onto the beach. What are the what starts to go through your mind as you exit this part of the swim?
It is an interesting time. You know, you really start having to actually slow down in your mind what you're going to do in transition, not to rush it. I mean, given they've still got to get out of the water, it's easy to get ahead of yourself and think further up. But right now, these guys are certainly focusing on making sure they're doing some great porpoising, some great, you know, running out of the water, not losing valuable time.
Really interesting, different techniques here. Some going for the walk, some going for the porpoise, but they do make their way onto the beach now. And you can see them all come together, couldn't you, in that? There was some clear leaders, but that process of getting out the water has really changed the order of the pack.
Well, again, it was Sam Dickinson that seemed to be the most comfortable. He looked as if he was quite in control. There's Hayden there. He also looks like he's done a little bit more beach training than some of the athletes that are not quite as familiar with these beach starts and exits. But again, it's a matter of just, you know, keeping in touch right now at this point in time, not doing anything silly, not knocking over your helmet, just going about the process.
So Sam Dickinson getting his swim skin off. Rico Bogan.
He's opting to go for socks already.
Yeah. And because they're all so close together, quite a chaotic transition zone. A lot of them all within a few seconds. So Hayden Wild makes his way out of that transition zone.
It appears someone has also already knocked off a bottle.
Yeah.
You can see it is chaotic, and you can see that, you know, simple little things can afford, you know, you can't afford to do, I should say. You know, losing a bottle at this point in the game is not something you want to do. These athletes do have special needs and do have nutrition out on course, but it's one of those things, you set up and you prepare so well, and yes, in the midst of the chaos of transition, these things can happen.
So this is the quite technical part of the course. It does open up once we get into the laps here on the bike course. It does open up a huge amount, but this is a very narrow little section that they've got to get through, and obviously very, very crowded. You can see all their race rangers there flashing red. I imagine there will be some leniency towards this section of the course as they start to space themselves out. Of course, only a 20 metre, you're not allowed to be within 20 metres of the person in front, or if you are, you have to make the pass, so you're not drafting.
This is this 1 kilometre section out until they begin their 6 laps. So it is very narrow because this is the place in which they will also be returning back to transition. So it's only this point up until they get to the main roundabout and then head out. So it is very tight, and it does appear that the athletes are very, very close together. They are certainly taking into consideration that it is a hard place to string out everybody as need be. You probably would think that it looks closer than it should, but until they get out onto the open road, it is a bit of a tricky place of the course in which the athletes need to be very aware of the rules, and the motos will be out there as soon as they round this roundabout and take that left-hand turn.
Just looking at the timing splits there, 23 seconds separating the top 15 at the last checkpoint. That is a very, very tight bike pack, isn't it, at the moment?
Big time!
So that is Mathis Margerier at the front, just ahead of Jelle Geens. And he had a brilliant race with us in France, finished 4th. Second best finish on the T100. He had the 3rd fastest bike leg of anyone in France. So he's mighty on the bike, and he's of course coming back from injury as well, so really good to see him back and on form. Is that number 6? Yeah, that's Carl Smith.
So it sounds like Carl's been...
Didn't see a card presented there.
But you could overhear him saying that he had been blocked.
Oh, I see.
But the officials are being very, very diligent.
We'll wait to hear what the official ruling is here. But there's certainly a lot of conversations going on the course. Well, that's confirmation there of a penalty that we do know about. And Vincent Louis having his equipment left outside the box, we're being told. So 30 seconds, again, be incredibly frustrating. Right now we've got Rico Bogan and Carl Smith both being, well, we assume, given a drafting penalty. And they're being made to wait here. Carl Smith shaking his head, clearly not happy with what's happening.
It is a super frustrating place to be. Like, nobody wants a penalty, but in these circumstances, like, it is race rules, as unfortunate as it is. Like, it is what it is. You've been handled the penalty, but you can also just waste a heck of a lot of energy arguing over something that really nothing can be done about it right now.
I think between Hayden Wild and Jelle Geens, it's been fantastic to watch them on the run. I think we're yet to get a really close battle to the finish, and I mean I'm sort of hoping we get it today, Emma. I don't know if we will, but you know they're pretty evenly matched. Hayden so far has the upper hand on Jelle, but we've heard Jelle say just how much he wants to beat Hayden, haven't we?
He really does seem like, you know, he's had enough. As much as it's a friendly rivalry, I think, you know, sometimes that little bit of dare I say, aggression and frustration that, you know, what do I need to do to beat him? I would love to see a head-to-head foot race between these guys, particularly on this course. I reckon it's time to have a bit of a ding-dong battle on the run.
So it goes from bad to worse for Rico Bogan here. He's already had a penalty for drafting, and a drop chain is not what you want in addition to that.
Oh, that is so frustrating, this guy.
I think he's got it on. I was going to say, because he's...
An incredibly frustrating place to have it as well, so he would have just been switching gears a little bit as, I mean, this is just like an ever so slight rise. This is just a ramp to cross over the highway, so it's nothing crazy, but it's probably one of the few places in this out and back, the out and back loops, I should say, that he's had to change, and it appears that, you know, that it's come off the front there, and that is just infuriating for someone that is such a great rider to having to be stopping and starting like that. Yella there looked calm and control. I saw him before the race. And I have to say, Yella looked great. He's always pretty composed, though he's been in this area for some time and with his family. You know, after moving to Australia with his wife and back to the Gold Coast, and changing training and to come back and base himself here, he seems to have found a really nice rhythm for the year.
Okay, so a little glimpse there into the groups that we've got so far here in the men's race. Marjorier, Wild and Moreno, 1, 2 and 3. Then a 6-second gap to Sam Dickinson. Jonas Schomburg behind him. Jelle Geens in that sort of 36-second gap. And then that larger group, Rico Bogan, Yuri Kulin, Gregory Barnaby and Vincent Louis, all behind them. So about a minute separating the top 10 as things stand. So the men's race, as I mentioned, getting towards the halfway mark. We're going to turn our attention to the women's race, which is going to get underway here very soon. And in it, we've got 3 athletes, all winners this year, who you can all but guarantee are going to be a factor come the final few kilometres here in Oropesa del Mar in Spain. So the women's race underway here in Spain. And Emma, we saw, didn't we, a lot of the women looking at what was happening in the men's race. They will, of course, done the same swim familiarisation as the men yesterday, but I wonder if they picked up any pointers or saw a pattern emerge of how the men were racing earlier.
I'm going to claim it. The Aussie, Ash, she nailed it. I mean, she had the hips moving really wide, the knees really moving wide. You could really see the difference in technique. If, you know, someone like Lucy Charles, an incredible athlete, incredible swimmer, but look where Ash is compared to Lucy, just out of getting and taking those first few strokes out of the water. Jess Learmonth as well, done plenty of training on the Gold Coast with the open water training. Phil Clayton is as a renowned swim expert and really drills into these athletes who are doing beach starts, swim buoys. He has helped turn around the likes of Alex Yees swimming, and really just shows, you know, these small details, these small parts of the race are little areas in which, you know, you don't think about all that often, but when the opportunity in a race presents itself like this, I have to say Ash was just, masterclass. And I guess somewhat we know what we somewhat are taught and grown up with it, but it was very evident how she could master that. Didn't really need to porpoise dive quite as much as the other athletes did, and her and Josh were talking about it last night, that, you know, it was kind of deceptive, that it was shallow and then there were a few dips, so she seemed to have had that in her head really well. It looks like, it would appear though that is Lucy coming around on your left of screen in the white cap. So we know she's a world-class swimmer, though I just had to say that Ash, she looks great. I'm not going to deny it.
Lucy at the front, Jess just behind, and Kate behind them.
I mean, Lucy's doing it incredibly. She's gliding through the water. I think she looks phenomenal, as we know, in the water. But as it is right now, I mean, that's perfect. Just to know that there's feet in front of you, still having enough water, not fighting anyone on your shoulder. Perfect place to be in under these circumstances.
So, as the women's race continues, Rico Bogan is making his way through the field again. We've said that a few times today. He's had a drafting penalty, he's had a dropped chain, but he's still very much a factor in this race, and he's continuing to move through. That's Hayden Wild. You can see there that he's overtaking as well. So he's now found himself in second place. So that is the beach, of course, that they're going to be getting out on. They will have, I'm sure, tried to sight and tried to learn when the water starts to get shallow. So Lucy Charles-Barclay, I was going to say she does start to do her walk, but...
And that's where it's sort of, you can see that it's almost like what we would have said, like a little bit of a sandbank, then a little bit of a dip, and another bit of a sandbank again as they run out of the water. But Lucy doesn't look all that stressed, if I'm honest. She looks really quite calm and just able to keep a nice, comfortable pace.
Yeah, good cheers on the beach there for Sarah Perez-Sala, Spanish athlete in Spain. Good to get some home support. So the next few athletes doing their porpoising and getting their way onto the beach. We'll start to work out exactly the order of things.
I think that would have been Hannah Berry from New Zealand. She's been out here training for a little bit prior to this event, so again, also someone that would be very familiar with ocean swims. Also alongside Lucy, the only one in 3 weeks lining up for a world title, so really interesting to see where she's at. She's had some great consistent results on the T100 this year, and I think, coming out and getting used to the time zone and also having the ability to prepare in the heat is really advantageous. So nice to see her, coming around leading that second chase group.
Big time!
Turn our attention back to the women's race, nearing the end of their second 1 kilometre lap. Just at the furthest point in the course there by those red buoys. You see the yellow sighting buoy, which they'll stay to the right of, and then they'll make their way onto the beach.
I have to say that is an incredibly sized gap. That is strung out quite a lot more than probably what I was expecting.
So really good to see Lucy back, a T100 winner. You do wonder what that will do for her confidence going forward in these races. Someone who's won on the T100, she's going to be a force to be reckoned with, I think. But there she is, making her way out of the water. All of these 4 athletes look pretty much out of sight of the rest of the field so far. We're going to start to get an understanding of the timing gap. But for the time being, they might have a look over their shoulder and realise just how far out in front they are.
You know what's interesting to note, that all 3 have, a full tri-suit or sim skin, and yet Sarah Perez-Sala is still racing in what I would call old school swimsuit. So it goes to show you to the testament of actually how good a swimmer she is as well. I mean, these suits do all add advantage in the water as well as on the bike and aerodynamics, but I tell you what, making the most of any home crowd that she's got here coming into transition. But yeah, it's you don't often see what I would say what we used to racing, what was the once normal. Yeah,
technology's certainly moving on, but maybe the old ways are the best ways when it comes to dry suits. I don't know. We'll see. So Lucy Charles-Barclay just clipping up her helmet. Jess Lim nice and quick out of transition there. Kate Woff with that white helmet. And all 4 of them away. We've now got eyes on the chasing pack. And that right there, that's Caroline Pohl. Yeah, Yeah, it's a long season, isn't it? Just because the opening or the top part of the season is tough doesn't mean that's going to dictate your results for the rest of the year. Someone who knows probably about that is Ash Jensor, given the difficulties she has had this season compared to last year, but she's got a bike, she's got her helmet on, and she's going to get out onto this bike course. So compared with the men's race, of course, here we've got much bigger gaps, certainly the opening stages, where you'd assume we're not going to perhaps see as many drafting penalties as we did in the men's race. Both Carl Smith and Rico Bogan being made to pause. Back in the men's race, couple of laps left to go. Mathis Margerier still out in front, but that gap has remained around. I was gonna say, yeah, sorry, just as I was about to say that, it changed. So the gap has come down quite significantly, and I wonder what happened to Mathis Margerier. We might be able to get a look at that. Hearing he might have had a bit of cramping, and that's looks like Emerson cramping.
That is unfortunate. Very unusual for this stage of the race. I mean, typically we see this occur maybe in really hot races towards the end of the run. So yeah, unusual. I hopefully we'll be able to shed some light on what's occurred there.
I mean, I don't know about you, but I think this is so perfectly poised for the run leg. I mean, Hayden Wild 2 seconds off the lead. Yellowkeen's just 4 seconds behind, and don't discount Sam Dickinson as well.
Yeah, I'm excited. I think this is I mean, this is, well, the second, third, and fourth is the podium that we saw in Fréjus, and Rico now right there in the mix with them. So we couldn't ask for a more exciting entrance to transition.
And even just looking beyond that kind of top 3 or 4, if you look down to 7th, you know, there's people who could definitely run up. I mean, I don't know how Jonas is feeling after 1 week after Nice, but he's a great runner. And also Marino as a wild card. We really don't know how he's going to fare. Is he going to get excited when he sees Yella's heels? I don't know.
You would have to think so. I think any of these athletes that have got the opportunity to be reading the back of their race suits, it's got to give you some level of confidence.
So into the transition zone they come. 80 kilometres done, 2 kilometres in the water done, just 18 kilometres left in this T100 race. Rico Bogan getting his helmet off, really weathered the storm of a really challenging bike ride, as we said. Had that drafting penalty. What have you seen?
Shoulder to shoulder, did you see it?
Yeah.
And Yella's had a quicker transition than Hayden.
And yeah, Yella out in front, which didn't happen in France, and Hayden still got to take his helmet off. And he takes his cap and he gets away. But yeah, you're right, that was a decent transition from Yella.
Yella was very quick out there.
I mean, I just think coming in after 80k of bike and 2k of swimming to be able to turn it around that quickly is always so impressive. I'm personally so excited to see the women come to a showdown. I think the level between the top women at the moment, it feels like the series could go anywhere, you know? Like we've had how many races and 5 winners? So really it's kind of, yeah, I feel like anything could happen.
It's an exciting race in the women's as well as the tight, battle at the front with the men.
You just saw there, Jonas Schomburg overtaking Rico Bogan.
Wow.
So he's clearly got something in his legs.
Honestly, I love how Jonas races. He just absolutely, it's just his soul and passion. He just puts it down on the road, and it's kind of like, are you going to hold on to this, Jonas? Are you going to, what's going to happen? But he just takes it out hard and sees how long he can hold on.
Tell you what's exciting is this battle here for the 3rd position.
Do you think Sam Dickinson would be incredibly surprised right now to see, he'd be like, excuse me, Jonas, what are you doing here?
Can't believe you just did an Ironman 6 days ago. Should you have legs this fresh?
So Hayden there, looks like he's just managed to take out a tiny bit of a lead there over Jelle. I say a tiny bit, it's actually gone to sort of 3-4 meters, something like that. No longer racing right next to each other. Hayden Wilde is potentially making a decisive move here.
You can see him, he's just starting to stride out. He's kind of like throws his arms a little bit, almost, yeah, just kind of relaxes himself. And I mean, it's so crazy how relaxed he looks going this speed.
But I tell you, who is hot on timing and pacing are these women. It looks like we still have our front four.
And it looks like Lucy is driving it on the front at the moment. So the lead group is Lucy Charles-Barkley. We've got Jess Learmoth in there, but it seems that there's actually Woff and Perez Sala have come. Everyone's come together essentially. They were a bit kind of spaced out before, but yeah, it's on.
I literally didn't do well, did I? She overtook me. I was taking a gel. Did you see it?
I didn't.
What a joke.
We were in the back.
I want to see the evidence, honestly. It's a right joke.
So
Lucy
they're
came
just
past me. I
getting-
didn't even do anything. Yeah. Can I have a look?
Yeah, so that is Jess Learmonth getting a drafting penalty.
5 seconds.
And being told by the marshals and officials exactly what happens. And that will be, you could hear the frustration,
Yeah.
couldn't you, from Jess? She feels like that wasn't quite how she saw it.
Honestly, being one of the strongest cyclists in the field, she's just got to put her head down. And honestly, there is nothing she can do at this point. As gutting as it is, she just has to try and calm herself down. Her heart rate will be a bit lower now, and just get into her rhythm and focus on trying to catch that group up.
We keep mentioning it, but Jonas Schomburg, I mean, my word. Let's do another check-in, shall we? With not long left to go, Emma. How do you think he's running, given what he's got in his legs?
I mean, you've got to be fatigued naturally. That doesn't need to be stated. But to be running in third behind Jelle and Hayden right now, like, all credit to him. Like, he's not fallen apart. Like, he still looks as calm and in control as he possibly can, I think, given at this point in the race.
So big, long, empty road in front of Jelle there, Emma. I mean, that wasn't probably what he wanted to see when he started the race today.
At this point of the race, it's a matter of keeping your head in the game. I mean, what can you do? You've got to run your own race. You've got to, he's still in second. We can't discount that. But to have daylight, I mean, to not let yourself feel demoralized by that, it is like such an important part where, you have to keep up the self-talk, being positive, not, oh my gosh, like, I can't even see him. He's so far down the road. Like, it's a matter of, like, keeping within yourself and being like, no, I have to keep the pressure on.
But not long left to go. The final few corners for Hayden Wilde, who quite frankly is making this T100 business look rather easy. He's onto the blue carpet. He's got a run that knocks the socks off of even the great Jelle Geens. He raises his finger in the air. This is going to be 4 wins in 4 races for Hayden Wilde. And the scary thing is, it's his debut season on the T100. Hayden Wilde wins here in Spain. Jelle Geens onto the blue carpet. A few high fives with the brilliant crowd we've got here in Spain. A kiss to his family, and he's over the finish line. Jelle Geens comes home in second. Jonas Schomburg, I think he's just found an extra gear on that final few hundred meters. An incredible performance from an athlete who only 6 days ago raced full distance. This is so impressive. But Jonas Schomburg over the line, and he can take a very well-deserved seat. So while the men make their way through to the finish line. Let's take a quick look at what's been happening in the women's race. And Lucy Charles-Barclay and Kate Woff really leading from the front here. Lucy still out in front. It's a minute 16 all the way back to Jessica Learmonth in third. Sarah Perez-Salat is then about another minute behind them. And things, Emma, if you're Lucy, if you're Kate, this is kind of exactly where you want to be, isn't it?
I think precision. It's planned perfectly. Unfortunately, given the 116 back to Jess Learmonth, that I believe in actual fact would still be, she'd still be there with them if it wasn't for that penalty. It would be that front four again. These two girls, tactically, I think it's probably something they both know and realise, whether it's spoken or not, that they're well aware of and know that they're capable of going off the front together. But they both look, Kate, for someone that's not spent a lot of time on a time trial bike up until, coming to this T100, she looks really comfortable and really, really calm, really smooth.
Big time! This is the moment we waited for. Everything you want is right here. Foot on the gas, ain't no slowing down. Aiming for greatness, no settling. Kick down the doors, they won't let me in. Taking no else, yeah, I gotta win. Watch me kick down the doors, they won't let me in. Running the game now. Foot on the gas, can slow down. No. Yeah, I gotta win. Watch me kick down the doors, they won't let me in. Watch the game change, yeah.
So if you scan the QR code on your screen, you can find out more about upcoming races. Dubai and Qatar, still with options to compete this year. Great opportunity for some winter sun, if you fancy it. And of course, plenty of races next year. Singapore, Vancouver, London, all taking entries. Just scan the QR code on your screen. Seeing the front of the women's race. And that's what a 3-second gap looks like on these roads. As our women are on the final lap of this bike course.
It's ever so deceptive. We've said all along it is a flat course, but it's it's almost sometimes that false flat. I think that's what Hayden attested to, that the bike was so hard. They make it look comfortable and smooth and easy, but it's just sometimes what makes it hard is that continuous pressure, that being in that continuous position. Only at the other end where they've got a few turns and yes, a few change of gears here coming up to a dead U-turn, but otherwise sometimes it's this type of racing that really just, we saw Matthias Marger that those cramps can set in because you're just not having any variance in your movement. You're not getting out of your saddle, you're not getting up and changing the dynamics of your muscles, and it's just this almost hardening that sort of sets in. And then given the heat on top of that, the way you're losing the salts and the hydration, at a quicker rate than what you might normally.
So, transition not far away at all as Kate Woff just undoes one of her shoes. This is the final corner before they will make their way onto the second transition zone. And Emma, look, as positions go for these two athletes, this is right where they want to be, and it also potentially gives us an amazing opportunity to see them battle again on the run.
Interesting that the different dismounts. Kate's still got the short course racing flying dismount,
which was quicker.
It always is quicker, and Lucy, more accustomed to probably just being able to afford the time, on longer distance races with her transition. So, but it's certainly something that's always worth practicing.
Yeah, you don't want to be doing that for the first time in a race, that's for sure. She made it look very, very easy. So stocks going on for Lucy Charles-Barclay. Stocks going on also for Kate Woff. And this is where they'll start to understand just how much that bike course has taken out of their legs. But pretty much the gap that they went into the transition zone, they come out. So Jessica Learmonth, She had a penalty for drafting in that bike leg. You would think she would be right at the very front. She's going to have to make do with being in third at the moment. She'll lace on her running shoes. And Jess has been speaking that she's actually been able to run a lot more in the last few weeks, which is really good to see because she's been struggling with running injuries all year.
She has really struggled with, I think, lower leg calf injuries and just not being able to get that consistency of running in that she would have liked to. And initially we thought, while we were in Fréjus that the same thing had occurred, but it was that, she was unwell and was unwell and was sick and wasn't able to finish the race there. So let's hope that, that she's able to, that consistency now is able to pick up, and it appears that both of them are dropping nutrition out of bags and pockets.
Contagious. So that is Hannah Berry making her way into the transition zone. Caroline Pole just behind. This is the chasing group. These are the athletes that will hope to catch up to Kate Woff and Lucy Charles-Barclay at the front.
India Lee there also, who third in the French Riviera just also 3 weeks ago. I feel like that also probably buoyed her confidence a bit, and I'd like to think that she's going to try and hunt down that sort of breakaway of girls, and she's proven it before, and I think she's gaining momentum.
So the leaders on the left of that road, that's Kate Woff, that's Lucy Charles-Barclay, and of course that's Jess Learmonth, who can see exactly what a 1 minute gap looks like. And interesting that Kate, taking the initiative, has gone out in front. So just looking further back, Hannah Berry, Hannah DeWitt, India Lee, Caroline Pole. Of those athletes, Emma, who do you fancy with the run prowess?
I would still say India Lee. I think she showed her form in Fréjus just 3 weeks ago, where the same thing, she just kept ticking away, plugging at the kilometres and just clawing back athletes. And I also believe, once you sort of had that momentum again going forward, and you've done it in a race, it just again, it gives you that confidence of, all right, like we're here again. I can pull back every athlete, and it's just like almost like pegging them off and just one by one. So I still believe that, probably India would be my pick at this point in the game.
And this is the beauty of this course. You do get to see where all of your fellow competitors are. And Jess Learmonth still going very well in third. We mentioned, of course, that she's been doing a bit more running, that she's been able to deal with the injury that's kind of plagued her whole season. She's been so impressive on the swim, as you would expect with Jess. She's been an incredible biker as well. But the run, what's the saying? Bike for show, run for dough. Just goes to show, doesn't it? You need to have a good run to back up the rest of your race.
Oh, it can be so infuriating when you just can't get in that consistency in your running. And Ash has mentioned the same, through the season with a bit of Achilles tendinopathy, and it just hampering you and hindering you from just able to get out the amount of training, particularly in one discipline.
So back at the front of the race, is that a little push that Lucy has put in there on Kate Woff?
Yeah, it does appear like she has decided that now is the time. I'm going to back myself. I'm going to, maybe her race plan is a negative split this and put the pressure on Kate.
Yeah, well, that's definitely a gap that's picked up. They've been racing side by side all day, or all run, I should say.
Yeah, Lucy's got she's running so well. Like, she really has got like this little bit of lightness. We've seen it before in her, when everything is going well, but she's just, just, that contact on the ground is just that little bit less, and that turnover is just that little bit faster now than Kate. And she just looks so in form. And I think, she's sort of put that accelerator down and just put it down nice and softly, but firmly, and broken that elastic. I don't see Kate being able to respond to that. Ultimately, what can you do? You can only control what's in control right now, and that's you.
Yeah, could that be the decisive move here in Spain? As Lucy Charles-Barclay, well, looks 30 metres or so further up the road than Kate Woff. This race to Qatar, all of those points could become really, really critical at the end of the season. You can see there on that graphic, Ash Gentle gaining 5 places on the run, Caroline Pole 3, and Lizzie Rayner of Great Britain with 2 places. But it's 5 at the moment, and yeah, you would think that might be a couple more as she sets her sights on Hannah Berry out in front. But yeah, for the time being, Lucy Charles-Barclay looking super, super composed in these final stages. And just a bit further back, Jessica Learmonth. She's got a nice gap either side of her, you'd have to say, between Ash Gentle just behind. I mean, as good a runner as Ash is, making up 2 minutes with just over a kilometre to go, I think that's going to be quite a challenge. So
I would have to think so. I think unless something happens to Jess's calves, I don't see that being a possibility. But so impressed and so happy to see Jess able to put together a race which we know she's capable of, but just hadn't had the capacity to execute.
So Lucy Charles-Barclay does not have long to go here. She got her first win in London on the T100 in August. And you start to think she's unlocked the potential of what she can do on this series. It's been a smooth race for Lucy Charles-Barclay in the company of Kate Woff for a short while. But she made a move and she wins here in Spain. 2 wins in 2 races for Lucy. Yeah, so Kate Woff rounds the final corner. Sunglasses off. It's been a hugely impressive performance from the Brit. She's had a first, she's had a second, she's had a third so far on the T100. Make that another second. Kate Woff comes home here in Spain. So Jess Learmonth makes her way onto the blue carpet. She had a drafting penalty, which perhaps makes this all the more remarkable. Not long to go. She comes home, finishes here in Spain in 3rd, and a little come on there to the sky. Lucy, congratulations, well done. How was that?
Yeah, that was pretty epic actually. Yeah, really nice day out there. I mean, from the beginning it was a pretty smooth swim out there. Yeah, calm as anything in the sea, and then just trying to go hard on the bike, see what happens, and then yeah, felt pretty strong on that run. So yeah, good day all round really.
So let's take a look then at how the women's race finished. Lucy Charles-Barclay in 1st place with the fastest swim of anyone. Kate Woff came home in 2nd. Jessica Learmonth in 3rd. Ash Gentle couldn't quite go as good as she did in France with the win, but she finishes in 4th with the fastest run of the day. And this is where it leaves us in the standings in the race to Qatar. Lucy Charles-Barclay and Kate Woff tied on 119 points. You've got 140 points now out of your 4 races. It's a perfect, you couldn't go to Qatar in a better position. What does this mean for the rest of your season?
It's super nice, I'm still looking forward to racing at Wollongong, and I've got the same objective to go there and race hard, and same with Dubai as well. And I've come out to say, I really want to win every race. So I'll be pushing until Qatar, and as I said, the season isn't over until Qatar, and I've been in this position many times, and I've fallen short. So I was going to keep the pressure on and hopefully to, do well in Qatar to bring it home. But it's still a long season for sure.
And just confirmation then that it was Hayden Wild who won the fastest run of anyone, which again is no surprises given how easy he made that look. Jelle Geens came home in second as well. Jonas Schomburg, he finished in third. Matisse Margirier in fourth. Sam Dickinson with the fastest swim of anyone in fifth. Moreno of Spain in sixth. Yuri Kulin in seventh. Menno Koolhaas in eighth. Gregory Barnaby in ninth. And Rico Bogan with the fastest bike of anyone. That's a clean sweep, I think, in the T100. He finished in 10th. So here's what it means for the standings. And Hayden Wild with a perfect 140 points, which he will take to Qatar. Jelle Geens in second, and Rico Bogan in third. Mikanu obviously not here this weekend, but he's in fourth. Matisse Margirier propels himself up the standings with another good result here. Martin Van Riel in sixth, Yuri Kulin in seventh, Gregory Barnaby in eighth, Antonio Benito Lopez also not here this weekend in ninth, and Menno Koolhaas rounds out the top 10. So we've got about a month off before we're down under in Wollongong, Australia on the 18th of October. But from all of us here in Spain, have a lovely rest of your weekend. Bye for now.